So let's talk more about closing Gitmo prison right now. Joining us from Washington, former White House Homeland Security Advisor and CNN national security contributor Francis Townsend. Francis, good to see you. Thanks for your time again.
Good to see you.
Hey, let's do this. Let's listen to the president from yesterday's signing ceremony, and then let's talk about it a bit.
Okay.
The message that we are sending around the world is that the United States intends to prosecute the ongoing struggle against violence and terrorism, and we are going to do so vigilantly, we are going to do so effectively, and we are going to do so in a manner that is consistent with our values and our ideals.
So, Fran, do you take the president at his words when he says he will vigilantly prosecute violence and terrorism? And I'm wondering, do the airstrikes in Pakistan today give you some comfort that the president will go after those who target the United States and its allies?
You know, the airstrikes that we've been reported today do give me some comfort. There were in the neighborhood of about 30 last year, and this is an indication that he's going to be consistent on that piece of the policy. On Guantanamo, you know, I'm reminded of the Jerry Maguire line in the movie Show Me the Money. Yeah. You know, President Bush wanted to close Guantanamo, and it didn't happen. And now President Obama has signed the executive order. We need the details. We need to understand what does this really mean, because as your package showed, you know, Representative Duncan Hunter Jr. has real concerns about, like many Americans, bringing these people to the United States where they suddenly get the rights of other U.S. citizens.
Well, that's interesting. So, Francis, do you believe that by signing these executive orders without more details, the president could be paving the way for dangerous individuals to be released onto U.S. soil?
It's possible, Tony, but that's why I do take him at his word. I think we've got to give him some time now. He set up this task force to provide him with options. I think it's important that we understand what options is he provided with and what options does he choose to take so that we can better gauge how effective this policy is going to be. Do
you expect, and I believe maybe you've even answered a bit of this, that at the end of the day, some of the detainees will be transferred to military prisons in the United States? And then the question becomes, what do we do? What do we do with them? How do we try them? And in your view, what should be the legal framework to try these men?
Well, it's difficult because some of these guys who were captured on the battlefield, obviously this is not like a crime scene in the U.S. where you can carefully bring in, collect evidence. And so I think some of them will not be able to be tried. The ones that are, it will be interesting to see, is it in a traditional civilian court with those constitutional protections, or is it a separate court? And again, the executive order is silent on that. The big danger, I think, right now is those that will be transferred overseas. What will happen to them? Will they be purely released? Will they be held overseas? There's a report in the New York Times this morning about a very dangerous guy. He was released to Saudi Arabia. He's now in Yemen. He's a part of the al-Qaeda operation in Yemen, and he's linked to the bombing of the attempted bombing of the American embassy in Yemen last year. So these guys get released, and they return to the battlefield and try to kill Americans. It's a very dangerous proposition for the new administration, just as it was for the last.
Fran, let's leave it there. Francis Townsend, a CNN contributor. And Francis, good to see you as always. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Tony.
As part of President Obama's infrastructure plans, he wants to do something to make sure your lights stay on.